you're a bit must be a bit familiar with Warhammer World.
Oh yeah, I do not play the games, but I know what they are.
Haven't you played ever RPG games?
No.
Role playing?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Because I read during reading your book, I was sure that you must have played some AD&D and D&D or something like that.
Never. No. With the Warhammer books, what I did was read all of the books about Warhammer 40k, the background and the descriptions of Space Marines, and then I just tried to imagine that these were real characters, which was quite difficult because I was the first person to write 40k fiction. Before me, quite a number of people had written medieval Warhammer, but that is easier to do because the rule books are simpler. There is less detail, and also these writers were basically writing generic fantasy and simply putting in Warhammer names, whereas I had to deal with this complete encyclopedia of madness 40,000 years ahead, which only existed until then in the form of Citadel miniatures, the Space Marines. And I look at these things and think, how can these be believable people? And the difficulty there was one of hallucinating myself into a state of mind where I could believe in inquisitors, assassins, and subhumans and demons, as though they were actual characters 40,000 years ahead, in a strange world where they have a high level of technology, but also they are, compared with us, living in a world of complete irrationalism and superstition and craziness. They are all psychotic in one way or another in the Warhammer world. The objective reality of the Warhammer universe is a universe of madness and death, constant warfare, attacks by demons and aliens. So in order to survive, you really have to be a bit mad yourself. In some ways, it is like putting yourself into the mind of an inquisitor 500 years ago in Spain who believes that witches exist and that demons exist. And this is quite difficult to do because I am basically a rational science fiction writer. And the majority of my books are set within the world of reason, the universe as we understand it. So it was quite hallucinatory entering this alternative reality.
Did you like the world of Warhammer?
I became intoxicated with it because I could write stuff which was completely over the top, which was lurid, gothic, brooding, mad. And this is not something that I could ever write normally if I did not have the background of the Warhammer 40k universe. So as soon as I started to write the first book, I became totally involved mentally in it, and I ended up feeling very proud of what I had done. So I put my own name on the books. Nobody else who wrote for our Games Workshop used their own names. They all used pseudonyms.
Yes. And why do we need? Let's turn back because
it's noisy.
Quite noisy here. And why do you think people need a world of chaos and death like that? Why are they buying these books? Why are they buying the game?
Well, some people are buying it simply for aesthetic reasons because they like to paint the miniatures. Others are playing these games because they actually like all the tactics and strategies. I have talked to players. I have not played any of the games myself, but they're not playing these games because they themselves are psychotic and mad, and actually want to live in a world of barbaric chaos. I think it's an escape into a crazy world of the imagination. It's an escape into dream world.
Why do we need to escape?
We have always wanted to escape somehow from the ordinary reality into something stranger and more fantastical. This is true in classical times, if you look at a poet like Ovid, a huge poem like the Metamorphoses, which is all about the mythical stories, the fables, the gods and goddesses, people being turned into trees, people being turned into fountains. We have got in us this kind of transformational magic, I think, which we may have inherited from primitive shamans, tribal shamans. The idea that somehow you can control reality magically if you understand it on some fantastical level.
So we try to control our reality? Because
I think that is it, yeah. There is a kind of shamanism in the playing of these games. This is why there are so many occult elements quite often in the games. We're trying to establish a deeper, albeit temporary and playful control over a world which seems to us out of control. If you have your miniature world, you can control it much more satisfactorily than you can control the larger world, which in itself is full of chaos and madness and genocide and dreadful accidents. Half a million people dying in a famine and flooding, killing tens of thousands. Our world is no, I'll have one of these. Goodbye, train. The world that we live in is not something that we can control. We cannot deal with the objective facts of nature, global warming, volcanoes, floods, and we can't deal with the constant conflict. How many wars have we had since the Second World War all over the world? We've had 100, 200 wars. In a sense, you could say that the Warhammer 40k universe is a reflection of our own reality. So many conflicts in Southeast Asia, Europe, and this has been going on continuously.
Yes, of course, but if we keep...
I'll use this because...
if we keep on escaping all the time...
It's an attempt to control a model of reality. I think that is what it is. And the reality also includes craziness and the irrational. The person who invented modern war games, in fact, is H.G. Wells, because back in 1913 he published a book called Little Wars, which established the basic rules for wargaming. And if you look at this book, it has photographs in it of little models of battleground terrains, which H.G. Wells made himself, and he would play this on his carpet or on his lawn. And in the first of the Warhammer manuals dealing with 40k, almost exactly the same photograph is used. And the H.G. Wells has a chapter called The Battle at the Farm. In the Warhammer book, there is a chapter called The Battle at Hook's Farm, or the names are the other way around. It is completely derived from what H.G. Wells devised. Now, H.G. Wells actually was interested in wargaming and invented the modern structure for wargaming because he believed that if only people such as generals and politicians were to play war games, they would realize how difficult it is to control little war, and then they would be less inclined to engage in big war in the real world. Because he even played games with people who were in the army, and he said that even with his simple rules, they could not control the situations. So how could they control? Well, the First World War started just after Wells published his book, and so we had all the chaos of the trench warfare in Western Europe.
Yes. Yes, but
So it's not so much that there is escapism in here. There is an interconnection between the real world, which is actually a chaotic world that is out of control in many aspects, and the world of the imagination, where we attempt to create a model of reality and attempt to organize it and survive within it.
oh well. But still, your world in the books I have read is so dark and hopeless. Can anyone learn how to live in a world like that? Does anybody want to live in a world like that?
Well, the characters are intensely motivated, all of them. The people such as inquisitors and assassins are filled with genuine belief in the God Emperor, who objectively does have the powers that we ascribe to a god. But he is there in physical reality.
He exists on Earth.
He exists on Earth, yes.
That's a big difference, I think, because we don't have that kind of lead.
No.
We can believe, but we cannot know.
No. So, I mean, it is a good thing for us. I mean, who wants to have a semi-insane God Emperor with immense psychic powers in actual reality? This is a horrible thought.
Yeah, but you still told us yesterday that you prefer that kind of belief instead of our words.
I probably said that yesterday. Today is today.
Okay. So, do you know any gamers?
I do know some gamers, yeah, but not a large number of them, because, as I say, I do not play the games myself. And the whole motivation behind the writing of the Games Workshop fiction was that the owner of Games Workshop at the time, Brian Ansell, wanted to read real novels by real novelists set in his beloved Warhammer landscape. And I mean, until then, you had all these little models, but you had no sense of the psychology of the people, or that these people could exist and be real. And he wanted them to be real, and was willing to pay quite a lot of money to writers in order to make these characters real and believable.
And do you? It's a pretty dumb question, but I still want to ask it. Do you use your books, your stories, your imagination to escape, to have alternate lives?
I don't use my Warhammer fiction to escape, but I have I used the other books that I write, my real books, if you like. I have tended to escape into them because I have lived within the worlds that I am creating, which are much less nasty worlds on the whole than that of Warhammer. The point with Warhammer is it is an attempt to see how baroque and mad and crazy and hallucinated you can make it. It's rather like Rambo writing a poem and being as decorative and crazy and out of this world as possible.
And when you escaped, what did you find? Could you solve the problems on this side with that side?
Well, no, I'm not solving problems when I write books. What I'm doing really is exploring my own mind, and also hoping to explore the minds of readers by changing their sense of reality.
But that can be a salvation.
Well, yeah.
The problems exist in you and in me. All that happening is just the problem is inside us, and if we can find something to do, something alternative, we can have the power to solve this worst problem.
Well, writing books, all of the characters in books are really aspects of the author. Because, you may meet people and talk to them and use them as models, but I think that basically you are using little parts of yourself and projecting those and making those into characters who you believe they are fictional, but they are aspects of yourself. So you are existing within a landscape of your own mind when you are writing a book. But if it is a successful book, before we get before the demon comes out, you have to write them in such a way that you are connecting with other people who have these same aspects of themselves, which they have not until that moment articulated or expressed. And the hope is that when they read your book, they begin to recognize aspects of themselves and understand more about themselves and experience little revelations.
Don't you have, by any chance, here a book that you really like? Not a Warhammer book, but one of your real books?
Yeah, I do, but I'm not carrying them around at the moment because books are heavy. I have some at the... I just gave some to Beholder, the publishers, so there are 3 of my real books over there, and there are some others in my hotel, which is up in the hills. It is an interesting hotel because it is not a real hotel, it is actually a simulation of a hotel.
What mean?
Not enough people stay there for it to be economically viable, yet it continues to exist up there on the hillside. And I've discussed this with Roberto Quaglia, and we have decided that the hotel is actually something else. It has a different purpose. But because reservations were made in the hotel for us, the hotel has to pretend that it is a hotel. No, it's completely true, I think.
I don't know, how much time do you have for us?
Well, plenty of time.
You do? Because maybe we could go to the hotel, because I'd like to hear, would love to hear a part from one of your books.
I don't think the hotel exists during the daytime when...
it's closed.
No, it disappears, I think.
Well, yeah, but we have a car. We could try to get there.
You would never find it. It is very, very difficult to find.
Oh, and you don't know the road?
I have been there 3 times. I could probably show you. But there are other problems with the hotel because every night when you go there are border guards. Because it is just beside the frontier, and so the border police, they themselves, find it difficult to believe that we are actually at a science fiction convention here in Salvatorian and are driving up so close to the border.
Yeah.
I mean, in my hotel room, for instance, there is an ornamental television set. In my room in the hotel, for instance, there is an ornamental television set, which cannot work because there is nowhere to plug in the electricity and nowhere to plug in the...
Új track, továbbra is interjú, forog.
This is a hotel room.
What's the purpose for this building?
Well, I don't know, but Roberto and I are trying to find out. It seems to us also that the people who work at the hotel are actually the same person, but they change their shape. So between night time when we get back there and the morning when the waiter comes out, it is the same person, but they have transformed themselves. And also we can order any food. There are no menus. You see, this is peculiar.
You make up a food and...
they create the food in a machine outside because they say, what do you want? They ask the night before. This is strange because usually in hotels, you go into breakfast and there is a little card, but no, not here. They ask the night before, what will you eat at breakfast time? So we tell them, and that food appears. And I'm making little experiments, like I say suddenly, can I have apple juice? And they say, yes, and go away. And then they come back with apple juice from the matter transformer, which is somewhere else in the hotel.
Good. We should see that place.
It has no reason for existing, and its purpose is entirely different. but it has to pretend to be a hotel. And quite often I already live in an altered state of reality, you see, because one of the ways in which I imagine my own books and get inspiration is to experience the ordinary world in an altered form and perceive the truth. Another theory which Roberto and I have arrived at.
Can we walk down then
of course
into
we
the
can.
neon because the power
Yeah.
went out?
Yeah.
and-
We have also realized that actually Hungarians speak Klingon. Now,
Úgy gondolja, hogy klingonul beszélünk?
and not many people know this.
Why it sounds like Klingon?
To us, it sounds like Klingon. You see, it is very, it is a very difficult language, and it is disconnected from the rest of the language, apart from Finnish and Estonian, which are all difficult languages. But there is no obvious connection with other languages. So obviously, it must be an alien language, and we've decided Klingon is probably the answer.
Well, I heard some theories about that. We have very much ease in Hungarian, and many people around, especially the ones that hate Hungarian, said it was like goats on a hill going meh.
Yeah. Well, the Norwegians say that the Danes they speak Norwegian, but with a throat disease.
Yes.
So this happens all over the world. Oh yes, this is a lovely and strange place. So I think it helps to, if you're a writer, to experience an altered reality, because this may be the true reality. You see.
That's what you mean, like Japan, like
Yeah.
you experienced.
It's enormously useful to me to to experience different places on the world, but to look at them upside down and inside out. I mean, this all seems ordinary to you because you're Hungarian, but it's very strange to me.
Yes.
So
think I know what you're
I will then try to make it stranger rather than more normal.
Yes, and that inspires you
Yeah.
to all kind of things. Can I give you a light?
Well, no, because I'll get sulfur inside of the cigarette.
If you wait till...
Well, yeah, but then you burn your finger.
So how did you do you write tales, by the way?
Short stories.
But do you consider those stories as fairy tales or tales?
No. Well, I mean, I've written one or two which use some fairy tale motifs, but no, what I write is, well, it's a kind of mixture of science fiction and fantasy. You could call it science fantasy, but with my main interest is in exploring the human mind and altered states of perception. So quite often in my stories, characters are experiencing some strangeness where the real world becomes as an altered reality for them. For example, I wrote do you know the cathedral by Gaudi, which built by Gaudi in Barcelona, Sagrada Familia, which is unfinished. I went there and I climbed it twice because it is so strange. And then I thought, what if it could be completed in holographic form? This means that you can have different alternative versions of the complete cathedral every day. And this particular story is about characters who go there and enter into the holographic completion of the cathedral, and in that they are pursued by a dragon. Because the dragon was a very important symbol for Gaudi. It is used in a lot of his gateways and ironwork. So there I'm sort of looking at something which is in the real world and is quite strange, and I'm trying to make it a bit stranger.
Yes, you don't believe in one reality. There are certain aspects of reality.
Yeah.
I get the point. And that's why, how did it begin? When did you find out that this is your world? An unstable world, if I can say.
Well, probably when I was growing up at school, because the place that I lived in when I was a schoolboy seemed to me to be very banal and unimaginative. And surely there must be something more interesting and more exciting somewhere else, or in the world of your mind. And also I grew up beside the sea. Now, for some people the sea is a kind of stimulating, oceanic environment, a spectacle. For me it is total boredom, because it means that half of the world is useless, and you can only go in the other direction.
So I would really love to hear some a part of your novel.
Yeah, sure.
Where
Well,
you think
we'll
is,
go back to the center, and I'll read an extract at random
Okay.
from one of my books. At random is usually a good way, because then you probably find something that I will have forgotten that I wrote,
Yes.
and I will be surprised by it. I mean, strange things. I read a novel called The Fireworm, which was a kind of exorcism of the place that I grew up in. And it's part horror novel and part science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And this was translated into Spanish recently. And so therefore I read the book quickly, because I went out to the Madrid book fair to launch the Spanish translation. So I read the book again in English quickly on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And I had not read it for 20 years. And I discovered an amazing misprint in the book, because the main character is a psychologist who also writes horror novels, and his two roles become confused totally during this book. Mm-hmm. And at one stage he says to himself, therapists do not usually psychoanalyze their fiancés, but this was printed, the word therapists was printed T-H-E, the space, rapists. So the text actually said the rapists do not usually psychoanalyze their fiancés. And I never saw this mistake until now. And I asked my Spanish translator, what did you translate? And she translated the rapists, not therapists. But I mean, this is an amazing discovery, that within the word therapist, which you think is benign, hides the word the rapist. And you can make these wonderful discoveries everywhere, and even in your own books, without realizing that they are there.
Yes, yes. Do you have a religion?
No, none.
No.
I'm very interested in the structures of religions, and they are probably necessary to people. They're part of our programming, our way of constructing reality.
Yeah, you can treat that as an alternative
Yeah,
life,
yes.
Another dimension of being.
I'm incapable of believing in any one belief structure. My only religion is being nice to people.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's mine too, but I feel sorry for that.
I don't. No. Well, I mean, religion is... Arthur Clarke has defined religion as a form of psychopathology, because it is a different contradictory belief systems which people adhere to so powerfully that they will kill each other. Muslims killing Christians, Christians killing Muslims, Jews. Everybody joins in. Buddhists killing Hindus, Hindus killing Buddhists. So there has to be something which is deeply sick about religion. There is something transcendental and beautiful, perhaps, and it gives purpose to people's lives. Yeah. But there is also something that is psychopathological.
Yeah, but people without belief still killing each other. So.
Well, this is true, yeah. So maybe the whole problem is that we are more programmed to kill each other. And maybe religion acts as a kind of bandage, preventing us from going around killing each other more than we do.
Can be. Can be. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, we walk back there and I'll read something to you.
Okay, thank you.
Wait a minute, I must take a photograph. Which is the... Oh, beside the bins.
Okay.
I'll come around to the bins. This is disposable. Yeah, the lenses are very good. And also they are very, very easy to use. Now, wait a minute. which is, no, that's bright out there, so we get that. Oh, here will do. Yeah, you will go over there, and no, you will all go over there.
You want to make a picture of us?
Oh yeah, I'm taking a picture of you. Yes. Oh no, he's yeah. Let me see. Good. Okay. That would be. The idea is always to take photographs of the people who photograph you, interview the people who interview you.